So Valentines has lent itself to 2 videos this year, hasn't it really, because of when it's fallen. So I've got the one last week that was, you know, loads of research and I really love doing those sorts of videos, as we know. And then I thought, well, you may as well go the day after and do some dross, some nonsense, an easy one to go, and this is this one. First up, to any incels watching this, fragrance ain't gonna get you laid. This is tongue-in-cheek, it's a bit daft, it's a bit of fun, it's not like, you know, whatever. These are the daft first dates and what have you, but I think I did one similar to this a couple of years ago or something, so it's just a bit of fun. Don't take it seriously. And that's it. It's just fragrances for all sorts of different sorts of first dates in the way that I do them. So yeah, I'll crack on. So first up, the most traditional first date, well, back in our day, was a drink in the pub, wasn't it really? And generally it was someone you'd met when you were out. We'll come to nightclubs later, but yeah, it was kind of when you met someone when you were out and let's go for a drink, or at work or whatever. So we all know what a pub is and the situations. We don't need me banging on about it. I apologise about the weather. There'll be lots of stops and starts. It's very windy, of course. So yeah, first day of the pub, you know. If it's someone from work, you know what they look like. You know what, you know. You're prepared for it. It's just a kind of different mood. But back in the day when you'd met someone in a club and stuff, you were drunk, weren't you? When you gave each other your numbers, you used to have to ring up their house, didn't you? And their dad would answer the phone or something. Anyway, because it takes me to them days, what I've gone for is what I probably would have definitely wore back then. That's Joop Homme. Not only is this a fragrance of an era, it's safe enough that it's, you know, it's familiar. It's very lovable. It's incredible. It ain't Dior Sauvage, you know. It's one on that scale, isn't it? But it's not going to be the same. Joop Homme, as we all know, big, huge, sticky orange blossom and jasmine, some lovely musks, a lovely kind of sweetness, that kind of cherry feel in there. It's just a magnificent fragrance. It's a legend for a reason, isn't it? One that changed the world, and this is definitely one you'd go for in the pub. You know, they're not gonna go, oh, what's that? So yeah, I mean, that's it. I don't need to waffle on, do I? Joop Homme for a first date in a pub. So another popular first date place is the cinema, which is always weird, because you can't really talk to someone, can you? Well, you're gonna, you know, one of my first dates was in a cinema. It was watching South Park, the movie back then. So yeah, I like South Park. You got to see what sort of person I was, loving South Park. But it's kind of a situation where you're sat very close to someone and not really saying a lot. So you need a kind of alluring fragrance, don't you? You need one to probably draw them in closer to you, you know, maybe snuggle into you and that kind of thing. So what I've gone for with that is a one-way bridges date with a dame, which is one I've spoken about so many times. It's basically this musky heaven with a slight cheeky wink in it, and it's got this, it's tuberose mainly and anise, but it's got this kind of cherry vibe to me, which I always think cherries, for some reason, it's quite a seductive kind of smell when it's done right, when it's not, you know, some plastic cherry. It's not a listed note and nobody else gets it, but mixing with the tuberose and the anise and the musks, it's and they're going to want to snuggle into you and smell them. Them musks are just so wow, and they're going to be like snuggling into you. And again, they're not going to be going, hey, what the hell's this? They're just going to want to get closer and closer. You know, I think it's brilliant for a first date thing. Although again, first date in the cinema, I suppose if you're shy, Saves you having to talk, and you've kind of broken the ice already there, haven't you? So yeah, first date in the cinema is Date with a Dame from One Way Bridge. Next is another fine date thing. This would probably be my first date because I love food. It's a restaurant, isn't it? And a restaurant's a really kind of difficult thing. You'd have to be kind of semi-dressed up, wouldn't you? You can't go in your trackies. We're not talking about McDonald's here. Again, not just the incels, but bye-bye chavs. This is a place, you know, there's a certain kind of level of dress code, isn't there, and looking smart. Plus you want to make an impression, but again, you don't go in your bow tie and your tuxedo, do you? So you need a fragrance to kind of match, and so it can't be obnoxious, can it, because people are eating. And also, it needs to be a little bit foodie, I think, to kind of blend in. And what's better, what's more alluring to someone than chocolate? But this is not your synthetic garbage vomit kind of thing. This is a grown-up, proper, dry cocoa. There's a kind of touch of hazelnut in there, which I think is the only sweetness. There's a little touch of oud. There's all these different levels of chocolate in there. And it's a magnificent fragrance. That's Akro's Dark, by the way. And again, this one, it's grown up. Do I use this word, sexy? It's got something about it, and the darkness around it and that. But also, it is chocolate. So they're gonna, you know, you're gonna enjoy your food. You're gonna have a hug hello, a hug goodbye, or whatever. And it's that one where they're gonna sniff and go, oh, this guy smells of chocolate, but this is not crap chocolate. This guy smells like a grown-up chocolate person. Whatever a grown-up chocolate person will be, but I do think for a kind of restaurant date, I think this one suits a lot. And again, it sets a good impression, doesn't it? This guy's kind of got his shit together. He can wear chocolate and smell yummy. I might want to take him home with me. You know, that kind of thing. Maybe. So for a restaurant is Akro's Dark. Next, as we kind of get old and past it, and I think as well as when we were younger, a good first date is a walk. This is not, you know, a fingering on a park bench kind of walk. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, you know, a nice stroll by a river. Probably not through a shithole like this, but just a nice, pleasurable stroll. And again, you'll be walking close together, to be able to smell you in the air, maybe hold hands and stuff. So you want a fragrance that kind of matches your surroundings. So again, it's not obnoxious, you're not going out clubbing or anything. You're a bit classy and all that jazz. I don't think this one or any of the fragrances will be remotely surprising, but my favourite green walk by a river fragrance is Dusita's Pavillon d'Or. Now again, this is kind of aromatic. It's got like a bit of a minty, kind of fresh green feel. You get the green notes in there, and you get this watery river feeling, and all like the green, you know, is leaning over it, bowing down to this beautiful crystal clear water which we used to have in the UK, and it's just, it takes you there, and it's really serene and peaceful. And I imagine someone sniffing you is going to kind of get the idea that you're a serene, peaceful person, you know, kind of deep thinking and outdoorsy, but obviously athletic. I mean, you can tell that by looking at me. I'm clearly athletic, or not, but you know what I mean. It's really nice, and I think green for me, smelling green on people for me is again, it's just that lovely natural fresh smelling feeling and smell, isn't it? Love it. So that's Pavillon d'Or for a little walking first date from Dusita. Next is a date that back when we were younger we'd probably do. Again, you'd probably, what's the word, hooked up with them the night before. Or it might be again someone you know, you've got your eye on, someone you want to impress and all of that. Clubbing, you know. Again, it's not so much, you're not going to get much conversation, are you? But I remember the days, that's the only place you met people, wasn't it? The bit of grooving away, Vest Club 7 blasting out, something like that. So you've got to want a fragrance that stands out and kind of they can smell and is generally quite sweet, isn't it? And again, quite pleasant and attractive, because really it smells of, the clubs in the old days smelt of alcopops and sweat, and nowadays I imagine they just smell straight of weed, just weed and sweat. So you're going to go for something, but you don't want to wear, you know, I don't know what people wear clubbing nowadays. You know, it would be 1 Million, Lamal, Joop, back in the day, Invictus. But this time you're going to wear something that's a bit different, and I've gone for Sirens and Sailors from Jusbox. And again, I always mention this every single time, you can almost predict what I'm going to say, can't you now? Claire Smith, our Dr. Claire Perfumes, calls it a naughty party. So it has this kind of, Jusbox, Sirens and Sailors, has this kind of, it starts off quite rosy, chocolatey rosy, almost kind of feel. And then it merges into this kind of boozy. There's lots of different sweet, fruity boozes in there. Perfect for a club. You smell like a club. And there's a lovely kind of soft leatheriness in there, which I find, you know, quite attractive. And then there's a muskiness. And it just stays as this kind of bright, happy, but cheeky kind of boozy scent. And this one does project quite a bit. It's not a beast, I wouldn't wear beasts, but it's enough to that, you know, when you're having a bit of a smoochy dance, they're going to smell it on you and you'll feel young again and blah blah blah. So I think it's a good first date in a clubbing kind of situation scent. Jusbox, Sirens and Sailors. Then back in my day, I did frequent these places sometimes. A rock club. This is a whole kind of grungy setting, isn't it? This is, you won't really be able to hear each other talking. You've got to pretend that you really love the music and that you're really kind of down with it, and it's not just a noise, because you kind of, you know, you kind of fancy the rocky alternative type person there. I do like some kind of that music, but not really. It was my scene, but without the music, if that makes sense. So you need something that's gonna, you know, make an impression and show everyone that you're some sort of rock dude god. And what I've gone for that is black opium, black Perfecto, Le Petit Robe Noir, Guerlains, you know. And this one, because it's got the leather, it's all about the leather really, isn't it? It's got that original DNA, you know, the cherry, the kind of floral touch. The cherry's probably a bit stronger in this, and an absolutely gorgeous heavenly musk. So that, you know, they'll smell you and they'll go, leather, this guy's my kind of thing. And then it shows off that kind of sweeter, cheeky, naughty side of you with the florals and the cherry and the licorice. And it's got to be really, it's alluring. It's one that I've said many times, kind of makes me lose control a bit. The muskiness, everything about it is quite, you know. So yeah, it's a gorgeous one. And suits a kind of rock club scene, but rock club light, like I'd be, you know. So that's Guerlain's Le Petit Robe Noir Black Perfecto. And kind of, obviously I need to cater to modern people, of which I am not. But I imagine a modern kind of date is online dating. I don't know, I see things on Instagram and stuff. Alright, I'm not cool, I won't even pretend. But I imagine they do it online, and they like take little pictures of their food, you know, to each other, and do fish pouts and go, oh, look at me. And you know, and then they like each other's posts and they like each other's video as they're dating, you know, maybe swiping on Tinder. And this is what I imagine modern dating to be. If you know, lots more air kisses, like my post, after we've had this date, share and follow and all that malarkey. I imagine that's what it's like. You know, the youth of today are strange. And I suppose that sort of dating is a lot less scary than it was when we were dating. But what have I gone for that? Well, they're going to go for influencer fragrances, aren't they? They don't really care how they smell or how awful they are. Plus the other person can't really smell them. So yeah, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm wearing Parfums de Marley Althair. Some Australian woman told me that, you know, it made her partner weak at his knees, so I thought I'd wear that one. Oh, it's so lovely. What does it smell of? Well, vanilla and really kind of sharp, toxic, plasticky notes, and it's really quite boring. And there's this thing called ambroxan in it. Lots and lots and lots and lots of it. And cashmerean. Don't I sound really cool knowing all these perfume notes and all these modern, you know, things? And it's really sweet. And the other person will be like, yeah, I've heard of Parfums de Marley. Like, yeah, I saw that Australian person too. Like, she's really kind of impartial. It's not like she's married to anyone, well, dating anyone from the brand and their family. And yeah, she always pays for her own fragrances, you know. It's not sponsored or anything. Yeah, sport. That's what she calls everyone. You guys in sport. And yeah, I've got to so like all of your posts after this. Maybe we should do this again sometime. Okay, I'm getting really carried away with this. Whoop, that's karma. I don't know what a modern date's like. I don't know what an online date's like. I've been a bit harsh to certain Australian influencers. But yeah, they're going to wear garbage that they've heard about on the internet, completely impartially, of course. So for an online date, we'll get to the point, it's Parfums de Marley Althair. Now I was going to do a blind date for this next one, but I've changed it to be more British. We have a thing called dogging here, which is basically you drive around, park up in your car, you know, somewhere like here, and you have an audience watching you get it on and join you. I believe it's quite popular still. I can't say I've experienced it, but yeah, it's just, you know, parking up your car with some friendly locals, enjoying themselves, you know, and that kind of thing. And that's kind of the modern British version of a blind date. It's probably quite an experience. I mean, don't knock something till you've tried it, really. What I've gone for that is Baccarat Rouge 540 from Maison Francis Kirkjohn. And that's because it has that latex feel, doesn't it? It has that latexy feel, like I was saying, and it will kind of hide the smell of lube and condoms and probably, you know, other things you put up your nose and what have you. I don't know what these people get up to, but it'll be very good. And obviously it's a very obnoxious one. It would hide that smell of, let's call it, stank. You know, the kind of things you'd need to open your bedroom window from back when you were young. It's bold and everyone knows it. I mean, it's not going to, you know, no one's going to be scared by the smell of that fragrance, are they? Again, it's got that, everyone's got a version of this, haven't they? It's got that familiar kind of vibe. Still flooded here. Don't know if you watched the snow video, but yeah. And again, I think we all know this fragrance, for me not to go too much into depth. Kind of burnt brown sugar, latex, a weird saffron, very obnoxious, very big, just perfect for such an occasion, you know, a kind of outdoorsy occasion, and still smell relatively good. So that is for dogging, Baccarat Rouge 540 from Maison Francis Kirkjohn. And finally, to make it 10, which it probably isn't because I can't count, is probably my dream date nowadays. A nice little visit to a graveyard. You know, she'll be in long leather boots, studs everywhere, a bit of lace, lots of dark makeup and all of that. And you're going to want to make a real impression as you... Yeah, it'd be lovely, it'd be peaceful, wouldn't it? You find a nice little flower bed to sit down on. The stars are shining. The moon is probably bright. You check in to make sure what her teeth look like before she kisses you. Of course it's got to be Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, isn't it? dark gothic roses. I've always said like a black and red rose, like intertwining together. These roses are making love and making this kind of sensuality there. Obviously there's a bit of like chocolatey patchouli and an earthy patchouli, perfect for a graveyard setting. And the kind of truffly smell takes you to autumn, and it's just, it sets the mood, doesn't it? I'm going to take one sniff of you and go, oh, this guy is my kind of dream guy with his kind of vampy smells. And even though he's wearing a pink t-shirt and skinny jeans, he's very much my type. And it is just such a magical, alluring kind of thing. And I think again, such a peaceful, beautiful first date, isn't it? Just a kind of silence, and there's a vibe there, isn't there? It's kind of relaxed and beautiful, really, in a way. So yeah, for your first date to a graveyard is going to be Tom Ford's Noir de Noir. And that, folks, is it. Oh, come on, it's just a bit of fun. It's nothing serious, you know. You don't need to go too much with these things, really. You ain't ever gonna get any sort of dropping crusty things type videos from me. You know, and maybe these will be useful. We do all go on strange sorts of dates nowadays, don't we? So yeah, that's it. What would you wear on a first date? In fact, what would you wear on a first date nowadays? Where would you go? But back in the day, what did you wear on a first date and where did you go? Has it changed massively? Right, folks, thanks, bye.